the Florida Writer Podcast, a discussion about writing and other things.
Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast. I'm your host, Allison Nissen, and today I am lucky enough to have with me Jean Morciglio. Jean, why don't you give us a 60-second elevator pitch about who you are and what you write?
Well, I have been involved actively with something called the Bloomingdale Writers Connection, which starts with a class called Life Story Writer. So I've been teaching the life story writing class. I'm a certified autobiographer, and I work with people who want to take those life stories, those personal essays, to the next level. And I came about to that place by myself after retiring after 35 years working as a community college administrator. Retired and just thought for fun I would attend a library, the Bloomingdale Library's life story writing class. And I had so much fun doing it. And I met such interesting people that I thought, oh, this writing stuff might be a lot of fun. And so there I am. And I do want to encourage people to join their friends of the library to support their local libraries and encourage people, if as much as possible, to get involved in life story writing. My two books that I've recently published, most recent was Like Finding Water in the Desert, and it is a collection of women's personal essays and journeys and struggles about their lives and about how they changed from having struggles as young children to growing into outstanding and amazing women. So we self-published, Finding Water in the Desert, and that's my portion of that was the portion that won the Bronze Award for the Florida Writers Association.
Well, that sounds like an exciting journey. I want to ask first, however, you said you help people take their life stories to the next level. What exactly does that mean?
Well, a lot of people start their life stories and it's a random set of, I had this thought and this happened, and it becomes almost unbearable for them because they don't know what to do with it all. So a lot of people just need help integrating it around themes, integrating their life stories around themes. So I was trained in the Buren method. So we look for thematic parts of your biography to kind of help pull together what's happened to you and make sense out of it. So that's part of it, is pulling it together through themes, but also just taking the material and organizing it. In many cases, people want to publish it for, maybe it's a cookbook that they want to put together for their family, or maybe it's personal essays on some significant historical event that they experienced. Was just working with a person who was very close during the Kennedy assassination years to what was going on then. And so just wanting to share that kind of experience with others, but knowing how to do it, how to put it together in a way so that people will read it.
And this is all through your public library.
Well, the life story writing classes were funded by the Bloomingdale Public Libraries, Friends of the Library. And when as I said, I got involved with that group, and it turns, there's about 600 writers who connect to that Bloomingdale library and the things that they have offered in the past. So I was on the programming committee, so I was able to bring in some of our local authors, our Florida authors like Ariel Howie and Ken Pelham, and various people that we've invited to come and speak to these local authors, and a surprisingly just good group of writers.
Oh, Florida is blessed with so many talented authors.
I know, it's a wonderful, and nothing I ever planned to get involved in when I retired, but here I am having fun doing it. So,
oh, that is amazing. What do you think is the common theme with people as they sit down to try to write their memories?
Well, often there's a turning point in a person's life. So maybe something happened when you were young. Maybe one of your parents passed away, or maybe you moved from one place to another, or maybe you experienced some kind of major social upheaval. But often there's a turning point in people's lives that they really remember. And so they often start with that turning point, which is, when did I start becoming the person I am now? And that's something that I think people, uh, the whole point behind life story writing and in the method that we use is to take, it's the one thing that as we grow older, instead of getting worse, it actually gets better. You know how our memories and our bodies and everything and we struggle with, but your ability to integrate your memories and to make sense out of your life actually improves as you age. So that's the one thing that we want to encourage people to do, is to take those turning points and think and reflect about what it means in their current life and how they got to where they're at. And
So
those
I'm
are
gonna
always interesting stories.
so I'm gonna ask, how did you get to where you are?
Oh, that's interesting. So I had a kind of an interesting background. My mother is Lebanese and my father is Puerto Rican. So I always tell people I'm a Lebarican. And I lived for a while in Puerto Rico as a child, but most of my life I grew up in Flint, Michigan. So what I struggled with, and my father died when I was 10, so that was a turning point for me. And what I struggled with was like trying to find the place where I fit in with my Lebanese cousins or with my Puerto Rican roots, whom I never had any contact with, or with the people in Flint, Michigan, who were, that's, you've heard of Flint. Flint's an interesting place. It's a very, very somewhat challenging place to live. So anyway, for me, that was my turning point, and I had to decide whether I wanted to be a kind of person who was easily victimized or a person who would sort of fight against that and become a strong individual. And so that was my struggle as I move forward. So and eventually got a PhD. At first, I thought I was going to drop out of school, and I ended up eventually getting a PhD. But that's part of that journey that you take when you decide, what that turning point means to you.
Yes, it's so important. The value of being able to take your past
Hmm.
and all the stuff that's in that box and
Yes.
then making something useful from that stuff
Yes.
is
Yes.
really, that's the challenge, because a lot of people, they have a box and they just look at it and it's like, it's just a bunch of junk. What do I do? But
Yeah.
I love the idea of writing your life story and being able to organize your lessons so that other people can learn from you.
Yes. And I think, honestly, I believe that everyone's life is a testimony. It's a witness. It speaks to some truth that other people need to hear. Often people are very timid about telling that story, but once the story is out, it's usually just wonderful. And people listen to it and go, oh my gosh, and especially family members. I mean, we want our family members to find out about the things that actually help them come into being.
That's true. The impact that the stories have on those around them it can be very great. Tell me about, do the authors find this as a catharsis?
I think so. Many people are shocked by, so the course that we offer, the life story writing course, is 10-week course. And I think many people sign up thinking, yeah, this is just going to be, let me capture my photos in a book so I can have something to give my kids. And I think at the end of 10 weeks, the reason we have so many people who are still involved in writing is that people have bonded with each other. They understand each other's life stories. They've been able to take their own story and make a lot more sense out of it than what they had in the past. And so you see a really significant connection with the existing writers and their continued relationship with each other. And that's a fun part. So like, I'm leading 2 groups now of people who want to take their writing to a next step. They want to get published in some way, and they had thought about doing that. And so I keep encouraging them to join the Florida Writers Association. That's the first step. And then how they can put their materials together in a meaningful way.
So the course that you offer is not a writing group per se.
So we offer the course, the 10-week course. During the time of the course, people break into small groups and then support each other's writing through the 10 weeks. Then at the end, they have an opportunity to join an existing writing group or create a new writing group. And we have about 30 of those groups that function out of the Bloomingdale Library, and about 600 active members who still participate with each other and communicate with each other about their writing experiences. So,
oh my goodness, that is an amazing program.
So I want to give a credit to the Bloomingdale Friends of the Library and to Val Perry, who's the coordinator of that program, who makes all that happen and has made that happen for the last 15 years or so.
Well, Jean Morciglio, thank you so much. How can people get in touch with you, and how can people find out information on the Bloomington Library? And is there a program now online?
So we did take our last program, and COVID happened right in the middle of our last set of classes, so we went online to finish off the classes. But we aren't, so the libraries now, their programming is all sort of put on hold until things are sorted out when libraries reopen and all that. So we don't have a course going on right now, but I think we'll still take names for when things get back together again and start working. The best way to reach me, honestly, I think the best way is through email, or so let me give you just my email address, and it's morciglj@gmail.com.
And Jean, are you ready to switch to our rapid fire questions?
Oh, sure. That'll be fun.
Do you like to use a thesaurus?
I love thesauruses. There's something called, I think it's called Power Thesaurus. Have you heard of that? It's public thesaurus. So I love things like Wikipedia and anything where the public kind of puts together their own information. So the Power Thesaurus is an online version where people write in words. So it's not just the thesaurus that you get with your dictionary or with your word program or whatever. But I love to look up this Power Thesaurus, and it gives all the words that other people would use when they were using the word. And yes, I love thesaurus. Thesauri, is that a plural of thesaurus?
Thesauri, that's great. We need to go back to the Greeks and ask them. Or Roman, is it Roman, Greek? I don't know. I assume it's Greek.
I like a synonym. I like a good synonym. How about that?
Synonym or a cinnamon roll, whichever one you want.
They're all good.
Do you prefer to write with a black pen or a blue pen?
Ooh, handwriting, I like a blue pen. Definitely. I have both, and I love erasable pens. So I have a blue erasable pen, and I tend to start writing really fast, and then I look back and it's all scribble. So I have an eraser so I can actually handle that. So, and I do Julia Cameron's method of writing in the morning, every minute, 3 pages, or at least 20 minutes of writing every morning. So
that's awesome. I've tried to start writing in my journal at night. I, as a child, was super regular about writing with my journal. And then as life got a little more complicated and computers became a little more prominent, I stepped away from my notebook and pen, and I'm recommitting myself right now. So
they say that it makes a huge difference, that you connect in different ways, which I like the computer, but I've been trying to do the handwriting. So now, did you keep your journals from when you were young? Did you? Oh, that must be fun. I bet that's fun reading.
It's a lot of fun. A quick little story. This is all about me for right now, and I know this is the Florida Writer podcast, and we're all about Jean. But my first husband passed away, so he was sick, and in my I would journal furiously every night because I was taking all of my thoughts and feelings and putting them there, because my boys were 6 and 9 at the time. And so it was just a lot of challenges. And he had Lou Gehrig's disease, which, so the symptoms, the signs, and the end is coming. And I had the night he died, I actually had one sheet of paper left in my notebook.
Wow.
So I
Does that
somehow
tell you
think
the universe? Does the universe have a plan for us, or what?
I am not sure, but that is just, to me, I will always be in awe of that fact. Literally, like, turned one blank and that was it. And then
Wow.
so I was able to close out that notebook that night and start a new one. But and that notebook, I would scream in it. I would write all over it. But again, this is the Allison show, so we're supposed to be talking about Jean. And I have one final question for you.
Yeah.
What's on your agenda today?
What's on my agenda today? Well, I'm working on a writing project. I've been taking some art classes, and I plan to go swimming. And that's probably it. So
that sounds like a nice Florida
lifestyle. I'm enjoying it, I gotta say. I suppose I should clean too, but I'll fit that in. So.
Well, little things they just take a couple seconds,
Yeah. I have to say, this morning I have a pond out back, and this morning I sat outside and 3 giant sandhill cranes came up. A cardinal, mourning doves, fishhawk, the pink birds, the egrets. It was such a beautiful morning that being outside and seeing the birds that I just enjoyed myself. So this is Florida. So
this is Florida. Absolutely. Jean Morciglio, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it and enjoyed the Florida Writers Association so much. Thanks for everything you guys do.
Well, we love having you as a member. You all have been listening to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Allison Nissen. Allison out. Jean Morciglio is an author and instructor. She has experience writing and publishing literary essays, short stories, and research papers for industry journals and colleges, most recently publishing creative nonfiction in the Story Circle Network Journal and the Florida Odet Literary Journal. She is the co-author and originator of Like Finding Water in the Desert, an anthology of autobiographical stories about women with Latin roots. For more information about the Florida Writers Association, visit us on the web at floridawriters.org.